My wife of 6 years. Accuses me of having an affair with my young sister-in-law and stops talking to me, but when I find the real truth, I am furious. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Amelia, 32F, for 6 years now. Our story began in college during our sophomore year. I was a business major, and she was studying computer science. We met in an elective course on environmental sustainability, where we were paired for a group project. I was immediately struck by her intelligence and wit. Amelia had this way of breaking down complex problems that made everything seem so clear and simple. Our first date was at a small coffee shop near campus. We talked for hours about our dreams, our families, and our favorite books. I remember thinking how easy it was to talk to her, how time seemed to fly by when we were together. We started dating officially a few weeks later. Throughout college, we supported each other's goals. Amelia helped me improve my grades in math-related subjects, while I helped her come out of her shell and make more friends. We were a team, balancing each other out perfectly. We had our share of arguments and disagreements, but we always managed to work through them. After graduation, we both landed jobs in the same city. I joined a marketing firm, while Amelia secured a position at a tech startup. We lived separately at first, wanting to establish our careers before taking the next step. Those 2 years of dating post-college only strengthened our relationship. We learned to navigate the challenges of adult life together, from budgeting to dealing with difficult coworkers. I proposed on our 4-year anniversary. I had planned an elaborate surprise, but in true Amelia fashion, she figured it out halfway through. She said yes before I could even get down on one knee. Our wedding was a small, intimate affair with close friends and family. Amelia's younger sister, Emily, 28F, was her maid of honor. The first few years of our marriage were blissful. We bought a small house, adopted a cat named Pixel, and settled into a comfortable routine. Amelia's career took off, and she was quickly climbing the corporate ladder. I was doing well too, but not at the same pace as Amelia. I always admired her drive and ambition. About a week ago, Emily moved to our city after getting a job here. Since she hadn't found an apartment yet, we offered to let her stay with us temporarily. Emily's mom, Sandra, also came along to help her settle in. I was excited to have Emily stay with us. She and I had always gotten along well, sharing a similar sense of humor and love for board games. At first, everything seemed fine. Amelia took a few days off work to help Emily settle in and start her apartment search. However, as the days passed, Amelia became increasingly busy with work. She had a big project coming up, and her team was understaffed. This meant she was putting in extra hours, often working late into the night. With Amelia busy, I took over helping Emily. We spent time looking at apartments online, visiting potential places, and discussing the pros and cons of different neighborhoods. I also showed her around the city, pointing out good restaurants, grocery stores, and other useful spots. Emily was grateful for the help, often expressing how much easier I was making her transition. One evening, about a week into Emily's stay, Amelia came home late to find Emily and me laughing over a game of Scrabble. She seemed a bit off, but when I asked if everything was okay, she just said she was tired and went to bed. I didn't think much of it at the time. As days went by, I started noticing changes in Amelia's behavior. She became more distant and withdrawn. Even when she was home, she rarely left her workroom. Our conversations became shorter and less frequent. I tried to engage her, asking about her day or if she wanted to join us for dinner, but she often declined, citing work commitments. After about 2 weeks, Emily found a place nearby and moved out. However, she still visited us frequently, usually in the evenings or on weekends. She'd come over for dinner or to hang out, which I thought was normal for family living close by. Sometimes, when Amelia was working late, Emily and I would watch movies or play games to pass the time. One Saturday, about a month after Emily had moved to her new place, I suggested we all go out for dinner to celebrate her new job and apartment. Amelia agreed, but seemed reluctant. At the restaurant, the conversation was artificial and awkward. Emily tried to engage Amelia, asking about her work and sharing funny stories from her new job, but Amelia's responses were short and disinterested. I tried to lighten the mood, but nothing seemed to work. We left the restaurant early, with Amelia claiming she had a headache. The next day, I decided it was time to talk to Amelia about what was going on. I walked into her workroom while she was on the phone. When she saw me, she quickly ended the call and asked what I wanted. I tried to bring up how I felt she had been distant lately, and asked if everything was okay. To my shock, Amelia exploded. She accused me of having an affair with Emily. I was completely blindsided by this accusation. I told her that I only saw Emily as a sister and that nothing inappropriate had happened between us. I tried to explain that I was just being helpful and welcoming to family, but Amelia wouldn't listen. She brought up how much time I'd spent with Emily, how often Emily visited, and how I seemed happier around her sister than with her. She mentioned the Scrabble night, the dinners, the movie nights. She even brought up times I hadn't thought twice about, like when Emily and I went grocery shopping together, or when I helped her assemble furniture in her new apartment. I was stunned. I hadn't realized my actions could be interpreted this way. I tried to reassure Amelia that my feelings for her hadn't changed, and that I was just trying to be a good brother-in-law. I reminded her of our history, our love, our life together. But Amelia was too upset to listen. After this argument, Amelia and I started sleeping in separate rooms. The tension in the house was intense. I felt lost and confused, not understanding how things had escalated so quickly. I tried to give Amelia space, while also making it clear that I was here when she's ready to talk. A few days later, I overheard Amelia on the phone with her mother. From the conversation, I realized that Sandra had been feeding these ideas to Amelia. She had apparently been telling Amelia that my behavior was suspicious, and that she should be wary of my relationship with Emily. Sandra had noticed how much time Emily and I spent together during her visit, and had jumped to conclusions. I was angry when I found this out. I felt that my mother-in-law had overstepped and caused unnecessary drama in our marriage. However, by the time I learned this, she had already gone back to her home in another state. I tried to talk to Amelia again, explaining what I had overheard, and reassuring her that her mother's suspicions were unfounded. But Amelia was still upset and unwilling to listen. She said she needed time to think and process everything. In an attempt to prove my innocence, I showed Amelia my phone and email, offering complete transparency. I even suggested she talk to Emily directly to clear up any misunderstandings. But Amelia refused, saying she couldn't trust either of us now. I've reduced contact with Emily, only responding to necessary messages about family matters. Emily is aware that something is wrong, but I haven't shared the details with her to avoid making the situation more complicated. She's texted a few times asking if everything is okay, but I've kept my responses vague. Now, I'm at a loss. I feel like I've done nothing wrong, but my marriage is suffering. I was just trying to be helpful and welcoming to my sister-in-law, and now I'm being accused of infidelity. I love Amelia and have never even thought about being unfaithful to her. I'm hurt that Amelia could think I would cheat on her, especially with her sister. I'm also frustrated that she seems to trust her mother's speculation over my word and our 6 years of marriage. At the same time, I'm trying to understand her perspective and how my actions might have appeared to her. I've suggested couples counseling, but Amelia hasn't given me an answer yet. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to save our marriage, but I also feel that I shouldn't have to apologize for being kind to family. Looking back, I wonder if I should have been more aware of how my actions might be perceived. Should I have involved Amelia more in Emily's settling-in process? Was I too naive in thinking that spending time with my sister-in-law was completely innocent? I've started to question every interaction I had with Emily. Was I too friendly? Did I cross a line without realizing it? But then I remind myself that I never had any romantic feelings for Emily. She's family, and I treated her as such. The hardest part is seeing how this has affected Amelia. The strong, confident woman I married now seems insecure and vulnerable. I hate that my actions, however innocent, have caused her pain. I want to fix this, but I don't know how when she won't even talk to me. I've thought about reaching out to Sandra to confront her about the role she played in this mess, but I worry that might only make things worse. I don't want to create more division in the family. For now, I'm trying to give Amelia the space she asked for, while also showing her that I'm committed to our marriage. I leave notes for her, telling her I love her and that I'm here when she's ready to talk. I'm taking care of all the household chores, trying to alleviate any stress I can. But as days turn into weeks, I'm starting to lose hope. Will Amelia ever trust me again? Can our marriage survive this? I love her more than anything, and the thought of losing her over a misunderstanding is tearing me apart. So, Reddit, should I have been more aware of how my actions might be perceived? Should I have involved Amelia more in Emily's settling-in process? Or am I right to feel that I've been unfairly accused based on unfounded suspicions? How do I fix this and save my marriage? Update. It's been 3 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I never expected things to turn out this way, but life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. After my initial post, things with Amelia remained tense. We were still living in the same house but barely speaking to each other. I continued to sleep in the guest room, and our interactions were limited to necessary household matters. I tried several times to initiate a conversation about our issues, but Amelia always shut me down, saying she wasn't ready to talk. About a month ago, I ran into Linda, Amelia's close friend and colleague, at a local coffee shop. Linda and I had always been on good terms, and she knew about the issues Amelia and I were having. She asked how things were going, and I gave her a brief update, expressing my frustration at the lack of communication from Amelia. Linda looked uncomfortable and asked if we could sit down. I could tell something was bothering her. After a moment of hesitation, she dropped a bombshell that turned my world upside down. Linda revealed that Amelia had been having an affair with her senior manager, David, for over a year. I was stunned. Linda explained that she had known about it for a while but had been sworn to secrecy by Amelia. However, she couldn't keep it to herself any longer, especially seeing how much I was suffering from Amelia's false accusations. According to Linda, Amelia had been looking for a way out of our marriage for months. She had grown closer to David and wanted to be with him, but she didn't want to be the one to end our marriage. When Emily came to stay with us, Amelia saw an opportunity. She deliberately distanced herself, hoping I would grow closer to Emily. She wanted to create a situation where she could accuse me of infidelity, giving her an excuse to end our marriage while painting herself as the victim. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The woman I had loved and trusted for years had not only been unfaithful, but had also tried to manipulate me into taking the blame for our failing marriage. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and deep sadness. Linda went on to reveal more shocking details. Amelia and David had been planning their future together. They were waiting for Amelia to finalize our divorce before making their relationship public. David was in the process of divorcing his wife as well. I thanked Linda for her honesty and left the coffee shop in a daze. I spent the next few days processing this information, trying to make sense of it all. I looked back at our relationship, wondering how I could have missed the signs. Had I been so blind, or was Amelia just that good at hiding her infidelity? After careful consideration, I decided to confront Amelia. I waited until she came home from work one evening and asked her to sit down for a talk. I calmly told her everything I had learned from Linda. I watched as the color drained from her face, her expression changing from shock to guilt to anger. At first, Amelia tried to deny everything, accusing Linda of lying. But as I shared more details that only someone close to her would know, she realized she couldn't keep up the charade. Finally, she broke down and admitted to the affair. Amelia confessed that she had fallen out of love with me over time and had grown closer to David. She said she felt guilty about the affair but couldn't bring herself to end it. She admitted to deliberately creating distance between us when Emily came to stay, hoping to find a way out of our marriage without being the one to end it. I asked her why she didn't just tell me she wanted a divorce, instead of trying to manipulate the situation. She said she was afraid of being seen as the bad guy, of disappointing her family and friends. She thought it would be easier if I was the one at fault. I was hurt, angry, and disappointed. I told Amelia that her actions were cowardly and selfish. I said that while our marriage might have had its problems, I had always been faithful and honest with her. I deserved better than to be manipulated and falsely accused. Amelia broke down in tears, apologizing profusely. She begged for forgiveness, saying she had made a terrible mistake. She even suggested we try couples counseling to work things out. But for me, the trust was irreparably broken. I told her I needed time to think and left the house for a few days, staying with a friend. During this time, I did a lot of soul-searching. I realized that even if I could forgive Amelia, I could never trust her again. The manipulation and lies were too much to overcome. I decided that ending our marriage was the best course of action for both of us. When I returned home, I told Amelia my decision. She seemed resigned, as if she had expected this outcome. We agreed to file for divorce and to try to keep things as amicable as possible. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. I contacted a divorce lawyer and started the process of filing for divorce. I also reached out to Emily and explained the situation to her. She was shocked and angry on my behalf, apologizing for her unwitting role in Amelia's plan. I assured her that she had nothing to apologize for and that I valued her as family. As news of our impending divorce spread, I was surprised by the reactions of our friends and family. Many of them, it turned out, had suspected something was going on with Amelia, but hadn't wanted to get involved. Some apologized for not speaking up sooner. Amelia's parents were particularly upset when they learned the truth. They called me to apologize for their earlier suspicions and to express their disappointment in Amelia's actions. It was a difficult conversation, but I appreciated their honesty and support. As we worked through the divorce proceedings, more surprises came to light. I discovered that Amelia had been secretly transferring money from our joint account to a private account for months. She had also been making large purchases that she had hidden from me. These discoveries made me even more certain that I was making the right decision in ending our marriage. Throughout this process, I found unexpected support from Linda. She felt guilty for keeping Amelia's secret for so long and wanted to make amends. We started spending more time together, initially just talking about the situation with Amelia. But gradually, our conversations expanded to other topics. I found myself looking forward to our chats and appreciating her kind and honest nature. About 2 months into the divorce process, another twist occurred. David's wife found out about his affair with Amelia and confronted him. Unlike me, she was willing to give their marriage another chance. David, faced with the reality of losing his family, broke things off with Amelia. Amelia was devastated. She came to me, crying and apologizing, saying she had made a huge mistake and wanted to call off the divorce. She said she realized now that what she had with David wasn't real love and that she wanted to work things out with me. But for me, it was too late. The trust was gone, and I couldn't go back to a relationship built on lies and manipulation. I told Amelia that while I forgave her, I couldn't forget what she had done. We needed to move forward with the divorce. As I write this update, the divorce is nearly finalized. Amelia and I have divided our assets and are preparing to go our separate ways. It's been a difficult and painful process, but I feel like I'm finally starting to heal. Throughout all of this, my friendship with Linda has continued to grow. We've been taking things slow, both aware of the complicated circumstances, but I find myself developing feelings for her. She's been a rock of support through this challenging time, and I appreciate her honesty and kindness. I've also reconnected with Emily. We've talked through everything that happened, and our relationship as in-laws has actually grown stronger. She's been incredibly supportive throughout this ordeal. Looking back at my original post, I realize now that I was never the asshole in this situation. I was simply a trusting husband who was manipulated by someone I loved. While the pain of betrayal still lingers, I'm hopeful for the future. I've learned valuable lessons about trust, communication, and the importance of being true to oneself. To those who offered advice on my original post, thank you. Your perspectives helped me navigate this difficult situation. And to anyone going through something similar, remember that you deserve honesty and respect in your relationships. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and seek the truth, even when it's painful. As I close this chapter of my life, I'm looking forward to what the future holds. It may not be the future I had once envisioned, but I'm determined to make it a good one, filled with honesty, trust, and genuine love.